All right, hey guys, we are back for the private Q&A, the only one for the week. Today is Wednesday, September 22nd. I am still in Malta. I'll be here a few more days. Rashul asks, are you still hopeful for humanity in the COVID nonsense, or do you think we're doomed? I think we're pretty doomed, unfortunately. So I will continue to try and travel for as long as I can, but it's possible that might not be doable in the near future. I mean, like I just explained earlier, I'm stuck. I can't do charts today, guys. I'm sorry. I'm gonna cut the screen share. My chart's just not loading. I don't know why. I don't know why that happens sometimes. I'd have to restart everything. Maybe I'll try and do a Q&A on Friday as well. I think I'm staying here till the weekend. Yeah, I mean, look, like I said, I'm flying from Malta to the United States, back to Dubai, just to avoid nose rate. Your opinion that interest rates will rise, right? Eventually, yes. From these historic lows. Yeah, when the currency starts to collapse, the interest rate will skyrocket through the roof. And it will all happen in like at once, you know? How do you make sense of the current time and in such a low interest rate market? Investing is anything a no-brainer? Well, because people don't invest in the stock market because of low rates. That's not how it works. People are investing in the stock market because it provides a better return. You're not going to, like, for example, if you think it's a bear market in the stock market, it doesn't matter if they are giving you money, right? So let's say the interest rate is 1%. You're not going to borrow at 1% and invest it in something that your expectation is it's going to lose you 2%. You're not going to borrow at 1% to lose 2%, but you will borrow at 10% to make 15. So if your expectation is that the stock market is going to make you 15 to 20% a year, you will borrow at 10% to do that. So, and this is why there is an over expectation on interest rates related to the stock market. Okay, can you please do a private public session or a paid webinar on climate change views? No, I would never charge for that. Yeah, I need to do a podcast just discussing climate change. One day, I first need to do a podcast with some doctors discussing COVID. That's sooner on the to-do list. All this stuff require, like right now, I'm kind of stressing out over the conferences. So maybe in December, when I'm not stressing out over conferences, we can do something like this. What 3 best things a government can and should do for its citizen, in your opinion? That is very, very easy. The US, let's go with the United States government. The reason why I'm going with the United States government is because the United States government has the best constitution versus any other government. And the reason why the US government has the best constitution is because the constitution was written to give power to the people and make the job of government suppressing the people as difficult as possible. So what the US has done since the day they signed the US Constitution is to the government, I mean, so the United States government, since the day the Constitution was signed, and the people that signed the Constitution got the power that they wanted, they pretty much been trying to get around their own Constitution that they wrote in order to have more power over the people. So there's no 3 things that the government can and should do for its citizens. There's only one. And that one thing is to actually enforce the original Constitution that they wrote. So for example, freedom of speech. So what the government should be doing is arresting people at Twitter and YouTube for suppressing people's freedom of speech. So anytime a tweet gets banned by some communist moderator on Twitter, anytime a video gets removed by some, again, socialist moderator on YouTube, they need to actually write up a report saying that this is harmful and dangerous content, or this is like, they actually need justification for removing that freedom of speech. So it's the government's job to enforce these constitutional rights, right? So another example is the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment says we have the right to bear arms. Now, the government is trying everything they can to remove the guns, when instead the government should be doing everything they can to allow people to have these guns safely, of course. But, now, for example, the federal government would tell the city of Chicago and the city of New York and the city of Los Angeles that according to the Constitution, citizens of these states have the federal right to bear arms. And because it is in the Constitution that they have the right to bear arms, the state of New York does not have the right to stop me from owning a gun as a New York citizen. There's a New York resident, or a California, or a LA resident, or a resident of Chicago. Okay, so these are the kinds of things that the government should be doing. Let's go with the Fourth Amendment, for example. The Third Amendment is fairly. The Third Amendment hasn't really been challenged. That has to do with voting. Obviously, there's cheating, right? So the government is supposed to do everything they can to prevent cheating in the election, when in fact they clearly are supporting cheating in the election. So it's things like this. The Fourth Amendment is most important. So for me personally, if I had to order the amendments, it's hard to order them, but I would say the three most important amendments is the first, second, fourth, and then fifth. So they did order them fairly well. The third is also important, of course. But the Fourth Amendment, basically, the Fourth Amendment is really, really big. It is broad. Fourth Amendment is really broad. What happens in the Fourth Amendment is that you are not supposed to be able to read a person's private letters. So this is most crucial, right? So Fourth Amendment is unreasonable search and seizure. And part of that Fourth Amendment for unreasonable search and seizure is obviously the government needs a warrant in order to search your stuff. The warrant has to be specific, on and on and on. But as part of the Fourth Amendment, the government and their police enforcers are not allowed to read your private diary. It's literally stated that way. But at the time, your private diary was literally a notebook of your private thoughts. Today, no one keeps a handwritten private diary. I mean, maybe some teenage girls do, but that's about it. Okay. Today, your private diary is your personal emails and your text messages and the things in your cell phone. That is your private diary. And it's stated right there in the Fourth Amendment that the government does not have the ability, even with a warrant, to have access to your private diary. So technically, what the government is supposed to be doing is enforcing the Fourth Amendment, saying that not Apple, not Google, not any other company operating in the United States has the ability to read your private messages. And neither does the government itself. So the government needs to be enforcing the Fourth Amendment, but instead they're shredding the shit out of the Fourth Amendment. Okay, so these are the kinds of things. So like I said, there's no three things. It's one thing. Enforce the best constitution in the world. And that's it. Now, there were obviously problems with the way the US was founded a little bit. The mistakes were made. Congressmen, which is both senators and House representatives, they can get reelected forever and ever and ever. So that was a huge fuck up by the founding fathers by not putting in term limits on Congress. One big fuck up. The second big fuck up was in the court judicial system. It was a double fuck up. One was judges should not be appointed. Judges, all federal judges should be voted in only by their peers. So mostly the lawyers that will be standing in front of those judges, okay? So it's kind of like an election, but it's a election of the knowledgeable people that work with those people, so, or work in that industry. So, and then more importantly, obviously the Constitution stated that everyone has the right to a jury trial, but obviously, because there are now so many laws in America and most countries, you don't get to have a jury trial. It's actually very, very difficult. And they make it difficult for you to have a jury trial because there's not enough resources to go around for a jury trial. So therefore, it's hard to do it. Also, the jury is a jury of your peers, but no one smart is going to be on that jury. So my view is, if you were to rewrite the US judicial system, which is still better than most of the world, you have to make the jury an actual profession. But it's random, right? Like your job is a juror. And this is great for educated people. I mean, you have to be educated somewhat. You have to have a proficiency exam, and you bring the IQ test back for this profession. And you have a jury as a profession, and it's a great profession for someone that is unemployed. A skilled person that is educated but happens to be unemployed. They can sign a contract and become a professional juror. Now, they have some what can I say, choices in the type of cases they are a juror for, but it's generally random. And so you just get assigned to a case, and you will have a track record, right? You're a professional juror. You're going to be in a lot of cases. Some are going to last long, some are going to be short, and you will, have a record of how you voted in these, not you personally, how you voted, because that should stay anonymous, but how those cases turned out, and whether the world views it as the right decision or not. And you will, end up with a bit of a track record as a juror over a year or 2 or 3, and jury becomes a profession. And the more honest you are, and the more as a juror, the better that profession is for you. So that's kind of how I see it, because people do need a jury trial of their peers, but those jurors need to be, filtered out, not by the smart people. Always get off that jury. It's very easy. But imagine if you got properly paid to be a juror, especially if you're educated in the law. So that's kind of how I view a better society. You write a good constitution that benefits the people, and then you enforce the constitution. You don't enforce things to break the constitution. You enforce the constitution itself. So we're going to start with LICY. We are in business. LICY is looking beautiful. Look at that. What a beautiful buy off the MRI buy. And we are now on an MRI warning sell. This is awesome. You can consider taking that profit now. You can maybe hang in there till tomorrow. I don't like this candle, but plenty of profit was made. What a gorgeous trade. Weekly and daily MRI buys. It doesn't get any better than that. I would be looking to take my profit already if you haven't yet. You can take a shot into tomorrow. It's only the first 15 minutes. This thing can definitely turn around and still go higher, but the money's been made. Great trade. Hope you were in it from the beginning. Okay, next stock on the list, Uber. Oh, wow. Oh, wait, there was another MRI buy right there. So initially there was a weekly MRI buy, but if you hung in there and stayed patient and you bought the daily MRI buy, you crushed it. Uber just crushed it. I did not even know that. So I would have done this trade again right off the MRI buy. The stop loss would have been below the swing low of candles 6 and 7, and you're still crushing it. I mean, there's absolutely no reason to get out. This thing can easily get all the way up to close to 50 bucks. Is the stock market up? Is the stock market up today? Stock market is up today. So if this thing does go into a dead cat bounce, Uber can certainly go to 50 bucks. Next, we have Lyft. I'm sure Lyft is very correlated with Uber. Yeah, look at that. Look at that beautiful trade we put in on Lyft. I would have done it here, and that would have been my target. Why did I do it here? Interesting. Why would I mean, I didn't really have much of a reason to buy here. What's the weekly chart? I mean, I was preemptively getting in on the weekly MRI buy. Now I remember. Oh, this is gorgeous. Whoever took the Lyft trade, you absolutely crushed it. Absolutely crushed it. Twitter. Twitter is looking great for an upcoming buy. Beautiful MRI sell right there. You're bouncing up the long-term moving average. Look at the last time we bounced up the long-term moving average, but this time you have an additional MRI buy. Now you do have to be a little bit careful with the bearishness of the overall stock market. However, this is looking great as a potential for tomorrow. HRL. Be careful with HRL. Yeah, that was a beautiful MRI buy. And then now we have an extension B, but we are continuing to go down. If we break this support, this could end badly. I would not rush into this trade unless it starts trading above today's high. UL. That is a nice MRI buy. Today is a bullish candle. We have support right there. So this is looking interesting. I might consider taking a swing at this. Buying it right now is a little bit later than I wanted. Would have been nice to buy it earlier in the day when the price was like here. You have a stop loss just below the swing low. And this thing can go up as high as the MRI resistance line. We have DVA. Try to go through these faster. I like the reversal candle. However, the moving average is here. I wouldn't rush into this. I would still be looking at bearishness. It's about to break the prior swing low. I'd stay away from it in general, but I would still, and it's a reversal candle. I can make the case in both directions. Oh crap, I'm on a weekly chart. My bad, guys. Daily chart, beautiful hammer reversal candle. I take it back. I don't like the weekly chart, but the daily chart looks nice. This thing can definitely run up a little bit more. So let's not get too cavalier with this. This might be one of those 50-50 deals on risk reward, but the probability of this up is much better than the probability of it down. And what was the prior stock that didn't look at UL? No, this is DVA UL on a daily. Oh, look at yes. That was more of a weekly play. Beautiful reversal candle. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it as this. Okay, HUM. See, I don't like this because we are breaking below all of these lows. This is a potential short in the making, and this thing can definitely puke out a long MRI buy weekly. Right, so it's on a weekly MRI buy, but right now the daily chart looks horrendous. So I would be very, very careful with this weekly buy. I would let this play out because the daily looks like it's a short. Like if only the weekly was in the middle of its count, this would absolutely be a short play. But look at this monster consolidation on the daily. So that means on a weekly, there's so much consolidation and you just got lucky to get this MRI buy on a weekly. So I would actually lean bearish here, even with this MRI buy. As weird as that sounds. So, and this is why when people ask me for free access to the MRI indicator for a month or two, I tell them that they can get into a lot of trouble. They see this green arrow and they're gonna buy with both hands. Meanwhile, I'm looking at the daily chart and I'm seeing how the red star on a daily scale breaking the prior swing low. So I am actually gonna lean bearish here just based on this giant consolidation. And that is why you can't blindly buy the MRI buy. So I'm actually gonna put in a short trade here with a stop loss above the moving average and a target pretty damn low because I think this thing is gonna enter the full-blown extension phase. Probably didn't expect that answer, did you? DraftKings. DraftKings looks bad, but you see, this is a very different MRI buy. This MRI buy is not happening in consolidation. It's happening after a full-blown drop. So yes, tomorrow, when the MRI buy comes, it could be a potential buying opportunity. But keep in mind, the weekly has plenty of downside. So I would wait for tomorrow. And if tomorrow's candle starts trading above today's high, that is a buying opportunity. So I got to remember to look at this tomorrow because I don't want to put in any targets yet, but that is a potential buying opportunity. Costco, I just lost my second monitor. Okay, it's back. Costco. CSCO. Wow, we have a lot of stocks to go through. See, Costco is starting to consolidate. It's the daily chart. We just got a red star candle. This is bearish to me. The weekly chart is just starting to go bearish. Costco might be in a little bit of trouble here. Now, the only reason why I'm hesitant in going short on Costco here is because we have gone short for way too long, and they can certainly pull back up to the upside if the S&P 500 starts pulling up to the upside as well. But you're also coming off a weekly MRI sell as well. So you should have been short Costco already. And if you've been short Costco already, it's okay to hold it a little bit longer. But going short Costco right now is very dangerous based on how much it has already fallen. It is nearing the end of its 1 to 4 candle correction, and it's time to take your profit from the short trades instead of entering into short trades. Even though this is pointing to more downside, but this downside is probably limited. So I am leaning very short on Costco, but unfortunately, the short trade has been missed. SLV, silver. I prefer to look at real silver and not the ETF of silver. So it is an MRI buy. I think silver is a terrible investment, as you guys know, and I think it's going to go to new historic lows on a long-term scale. I wouldn't trade silver to the upside. PLG. Platinum. Platinum's been looking even worse than silver, and probably rightfully so. No, this looks like a disaster. It's a dead cat bounce before this thing trends towards zero. I mean, there's only so much lower it can go, right? So, well, I guess it can go a lot lower. It looks like a shit coin, to be honest with you. Look at this. Look at this. Look at, wow. Wow. Like, like, what the hell is this? Like, this is not an ETF. I mean, this is like, I'm trying to think of a ship, and this is like, it's like the chart of, I don't know, what's the, like EOS or something, or what went to like Zcash or something. This is horrendous. I mean, they'll probably reverse split again and then go down another decent chunk. This is insane. Why on earth would you buy something that has shown zero potential to go up since 2011? Stay away from this at all costs. PSFE. Same thing. This is a disaster. It's a complete disaster. Like, I wouldn't short it, but this is a complete disaster, whatever the hell that is. DNG. Oh, too many O's. Looks terrible. I would not risk it here. That's weekly chart, that's daily chart. No, I would stay away from it. I'm bearish on this name as well. And finally, we have KAHOT, but the person who asked the question is not here. Daily chart looks bearish to me. Weekly chart looks not interesting to me. Beautiful buy on a weekly scale if you have done that. All right, guys, that is it. Unless I see other questions, I really need to call it a day, and I don't see any more questions. So thank you so much for sticking around in this private Q&A. That was a great list of stocks, and happy that I've taken a look at those. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. I'm going to stop the video recording, and I will see you all soon on the next one. All right. Hey, everyone. This is another private Q&A session for September 24th, Friday, September 24th. It is 9:40 in the morning, New York time. And we got a bunch of questions, mostly looking at charts. So we are going to go pretty much straight into screen share. I do want to plug the conferences very quickly. We have Understanding Bitcoin in Malta, October 14 to 15. Stick around for the Financial Summit, November 6 to 12. And here are my affiliates, but here's my calendar, because this video will come out this Sunday. And I have lots and lots and lots of events that I'm speaking at and hosting coming up in Dubai. Okay, let's go to the charts. We got a long list of stocks, so let's just get to it. LICY. LICY weekly chart looks very, very bullish. Daily chart, wow. Well, you had the MRI sell and it was a reversal candle. So for all intents and purposes, I would have gotten out on this MRI sell candle probably towards the end of the day after it had already started falling a little bit. You can still hold on to some of it, but this trade is pretty much over, and you can probably buy in again in the near future. But this was probably the best trade. Whoever did this trade did incredibly well. I mean, right off the MRI buy, it went up 40%. I mean, for a stock that is almost unheard of in a matter of, 2 weeks. Next, we have AAPL. That's Apple. I do not like the chart structure. It is an MRI buy, but you can see how it's going into resistance. This is one of those 1 to 4 daily corrections, followed probably by more downside because the chart pattern, I mean, look, you just made a new swing low. And now it's just a dead cat bounce into a def cross between the moving averages. And then probably it's going to go down and hit the long-term 200-day moving average, which is exactly what I think the stock market is going to do as well. Next, we have Facebook. Same thing, only significantly weaker. Facebook could not even bounce off of this MRI buy. Now, normally these MRI buys are great, but this is already a terrible picture. If Monday's trading is below the low of today, you're going to get a red star candle, which means that we are going to accelerate to the downside. And this MRI buy did not reverse the price like this MRI sell did. Though this one was also tricky, because right here on this green star candle, I would have been bullish. I wouldn't be bearish until the red star candle. But the next red star candle comes tomorrow or Monday. And Facebook is also very likely to head down into the 200-day moving average. Next, we have Twitter. Twitter is actually looking bullish. As you can see, we bounced off the moving averages. We're above all the moving averages, but they are not all yet properly ordered. So the short-term moving average needs to still get above the intermediate-term moving average. This is a fairly bullish chart. The MRI did not load, so we will try and reload it. But the MRI is coming into an MRI top in a couple of days next week. So this is one of those charts that I would be looking for a 1 to 4 candle correction, a reversal off a moving average, maybe off the golden cross, and then probably more upside. So I am bullish on Twitter, especially with their Bitcoin news. All right, next we have UL. Yeah, UL was something that I thought was looking very, very good, but it must have been on a weekly scale. Well, maybe. I'm not even sure anymore. UL doesn't look all that great anymore. It was looking nice. It had a weekly MRI buy. Or did it have a monthly MRI buy as well? No. I don't like this longer term chart structure. I would potentially get out of this trade with a profit and call it a day, because it's not looking that good to me anymore. I'm taking this off the table. It was funny. It was going up with red candles. Really, really weird. Yeah, I don't like it. It looks like it wants to just go down further, especially on a weekly chart. SGRY. Oh boy, yeah, you see, this is one of those 1 to 4 candle upswings down. This is a scary looking chart. This is a scary looking chart. This thing looks like it can really drop hard. It'll consolidate for a little bit. once the moving averages start crossing, this thing could be in serious trouble. I think it can really crash hard once we go below this area, and we almost did today. So red star candle, the breach of the long-term moving average is could send this thing down fairly hard. ARCE. Yeah, no, this one is done. It must have been looking good on a daily scale. Well, you're obviously late to the party, right? Like the time to get in should have been off the MRI buy, but it did have a little bit of a swing. We now have another one. You know, you can give it one more shot of that MRI daily. Hey, Gino, you have access to the new one. Everybody does. You just have to go to, you know, my, where is it? Invite only scripts and just like, what is this? Oh, I know what that is. And you just have to add it. It's over here. It'll say momentum reversal indicator. But if you don't have the stars, that's not a default feature. You have to add that in the settings. Everyone has access. You should have access. Just gotta add it. So you can try again off this samurai buy, but I don't know. I'm not feeling this one. It's it needs to go up. It needs to go up very quickly, just like the Bitcoin price. I don't like this double bottom. So if it doesn't go up quickly, you got to get out of this. I'll remind you to take a look at it in the near future. Next, we have NGD. Weekly chart looks bad. Daily chart also looks bad. I know it's an MRI buy, but that is a consolidation near the bottom. So if a red star candle shows up, that is probably on pace to go lower. There's only so much lower it can go. It's a $1 stock, but I would wait for it to recapture the moving averages, probably both of them, before going bullish on this. FINV, I like this candle. It came in with an MRI buy. I would be very careful here. I would set a very tight stop loss. This thing needs to immediately get above all the moving averages. If it doesn't do it soon, it will probably take another big leg down. MRCY. Oh boy, this looks like a complete and utter disaster. It is an MRI buy. That is a strong candle. How's the volume? Not strong at all. So I would be patient. I would wait for it to recapture a moving average. If you are already if you're already long, I would set the stop loss to somewhere in the middle of that candle, maybe a 44.92 or something, and that would be my initial stop loss. RERE looks nice off the weekly MRI buy. It dipped down and now it's rallying. Was this an IPO? It looks like an IPO. Did it fall 50%? It did fall 50%. Fell 51% and 52.5. So yeah, this could be going to the upside if you look up this company and they have a real product and they have actual clients and they are actually making money. This is the Vays potential future fund. IPOs after a 50% correction. Looks promising. QFIN, we got 3 more. Same thing as the other stocks. This looks very, very bad. Back below the moving averages, getting close to the slow. Probably going to head down towards the prior swing high. This vicinity here. VRM. It's at a brand new all-time low. I don't like to mess with stuff at a brand new all-time low. It's a $20 stock, plenty of room to the bottom. It is an IPO of the opening price. It has fallen 42% off the swing high, 69, and off of a close at the high, 64. So yeah, but I still need some kind of strength. I would keep it on a watch list. If this thing capitulates and crashes down to 20 bucks with an MRI buy, it can finally be a shot at some upside. And finally, we have BBV. BBV has been on the tear to the upside. This is something with Brazil, probably. And it looks bullish. That's really on a weekly scale and a daily scale. It just looks bullish. All right, Patrick, thanks for the list. It was really good. Got a bunch of questions. I don't think they are stock related. Let's take a look. Gino, hi Tone, what do you know about the provision in the last tax bill in relation to the digital dollar and how this could impact Bitcoin? I actually know nothing, so I cannot comment. Okay, next, what do we got? AC. According to you, what are the best custodians for institutions or Bitcoin companies? I like Unchained Capital. Fidelity should be okay as well. Unchained Capital is the best, in my opinion. How scary is this Bitcoin price crash? It's really scary because it's really altering the longer term intermediate view of the technical picture. Next, according to you, where is the line that should wake up a person to leave a country like Australia? Australia, when they start blocking the internet and when they're not, the moment they say you can't leave or enter the country as a citizen, that's a big red flag and it's time to immediately get out. Like the moment you hear they may not let you leave, remember, the most permanent government measures start out as temporary short-term measures. So while Australia put in a short-term temporary measure not allowing you to leave, if the violence and the clash continues to escalate, the measure for Australians not to leave is going to be permanent, very similar to North Korea mandates on you can't leave. So that's the first flag. That's the line. Like Mechanics said during the news show, that in many ways China is more capitalist along with being communist. Why is that? China so far has been, it's kind of like Dubai. They're very pro money, though not with Bitcoin. So I don't know. Look, guys, I haven't been to China. I can't talk about China too much. I can talk about Dubai because I'm there all the time, but I can't really talk about China. China is communist, so I suppose no one can own land there. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I mean, I think they can own apartments there. I think they can own land there, but China is just more likely to take it away. They don't have very good property rights. All government have the ability to take your real estate. The question is, how likely is it to happen? And it's a lot more likely in China. What's better, having a company fail in free market or trying to restructure its debt? It depends on the company. It depends on the company. It depends how many competitors that company has. It depends what kind of systemic risk that company can have. For example, one bank collapsing is not a big deal. All banks collapsing is a big deal. So one car manufacturer in a country collapsing, all three American car manufacturers collapsing at the same time, causing all of those jobs to go bankrupt. I mean, the government probably, I'm going to say probably, not definitely, but they probably did the right thing bailing out the US car industry because those debts did get repaid. USD's breaking out. We can take a look. Not yet. Not breaking out yet, but it probably will. Probably will. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching. I'm gonna go ahead and end it here, and we're gonna keep this Q&A a little bit short. And I'll bring you guys more next week. I'll be in the US next week, so I'll try to keep it the same, approximately the same time though. All right. Once again, this was the Q&A session for the week of September 21st, 20th. And thank you all for watching, and see you all on the next one, guys. Bye.